Hey there, Lady Team Nation. Welcome back to another great episode. Today, I have for you KS. KS is the Chief Technology Officer at Sensormatic Solutions. He leads a team of over 450 professionals who are responsible for services and products that go into 70% of the top 200 global retailers, solutions that span 185,000 stores, 125 billion items protected in the last decade, 50 billion source tagged items, tracking 150,000 plus managed devices in 70,000 stores. And that encompasses 40 billion shopper visits per year. Sensormatic is leading the way in technology. And let me tell you, KS is going to be a great today. So you're going to love it. KS, welcome to Lead the Team, sir.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you for having me in your show.
So let's get this kicked off. How did you get the nickname KS?
Wow, it's a long story. my full name goes as Subramanian Kunchithapatham, but I'm from India. When I grew up in India, you write the name with the initial. The initial is nothing but your father's name. My father's name is Kunchithapatham. You write K dot and then the first name Subramanian. So that's how most of my certificates and school records, everything will show in India as K Subramanian. And that's how I was nicknamed as KS. When I come to US, you have to put your first name, that is Subramanian, and the last name is my father's name, that is Kunchithapatham. So that's why many people in US, they get confused. Why you should be called SK? Why are you called KS? So that's the story behind the KS nickname.
Yeah, and it gives you a great story to be able to inform people of what Indian culture is like, right?
Culture different, yeah.
Yeah, it's different sometimes. And so I'm curious, when you're in India, do you introduce yourself with your full name or do you use the initials also?
Yeah, nowadays I go by KS. Even all my friends, everybody goes by KS. But in India, typically you introduce by your first name, that is Subramanian.
Okay. And when you made that change to introducing yourself by KS, did you notice a difference in the response that people give you versus when you introduce your full name?
No, actually, because in the college days and school days in college days itself, I got nicknamed this way, and then I got known that way, so it became
all right. So
became
that's your
common.
calling card now. On your business card, does it just say KS?
No, it says Subramanian Kunchithapatham bracket KS, so that people will know there is an alias name.
So if you introduce yourself to someone that's Indian,
yeah,
and they see it, do they frequently say your full name, or do they go right to KS too?
They try to tell me Subramanian, but once they know that everybody else is calling me KS, they'll go to KS.
Man, I love little nuances like that. So now your 450 team members know the story if you haven't told them.
The entire company knows. My entire Sensormatic Solutions know me as KS, even though my name is big.
Great. Okay. Well, let's dive into it a bit more then. What's your favorite leadership story?
In the early part of my career, I started my career with Motorola India, and way back in 2004, the Motorola Global Software Group that I was working for was going through a major reorganization. And the Global Software Group had software centers all across the world and different countries. And they were structured as one software group. And they were breaking that organization apart into based on if you're serving a networks business, they're creating a dedicated networks division. And if you're serving a mobile devices business, they were creating a dedicated mobile devices division. As part of the reorganization, there were a lot of opportunities that were opening up. And I was a very successful and a star leader in the organization. And I was leading a very advanced technology group with about 150 plus people reporting into me. And there was no reason for me to go look for a new job or anything. But there was an interesting role that popped up called strategic quality manager. And this position reported into a very senior leader who was going to head the entire networks business vertical across all countries globally. And the role, unfortunately, did not have any direct reports. It's a quality management role as an individual manager, reporting into a very senior leader, but it had oversight responsibilities in 7 countries. So my boss had operations in 7 countries, and this role should enable strategic quality and drive strategic quality decisions in all those software centers. I'd applied for that role. That surprised a lot of people in the company, including my manager, my colleagues, and even my colleagues in US were very, very intrigued by my move, saying that, hey, why are you applying for that role? Because you're a very successful guy, you're working on advanced technology products. Suddenly you're applying for a quality role. And then one of the gentlemen, still I remember the story, he pulled me aside and said, Kes, typically in the US, when somebody moves to quality, they get demoted. Because they're getting demoted, they get pushed into quality. And you are taking a very conscious move while you are being successful here and moving into quality. I said, that is when in 2003, I just finished my MBA, and my focus was more into strategy and international business. And I saw that, hey, it might give me a great opportunity for me to learn the international culture and how do you do international aspect of the business. And he still went ahead and gave the interview when everybody else said that I'm making a stupidest move. And I got the job, and I had a fantastic boss there. And in fact, I would say that a lot of leadership ethos that I carry forward from then on, it all comes from that boss, actually, right? And I learned quite a lot from the boss. And the biggest learning from that was multicultural leadership, right? And a global leadership. And that's a big one. And that happened in the early part of my career. And even today, that is helping me as a CTO of this company. When you are a CTO of a global company, you're dealing with the global cultures and people across the globe. And the leadership lessons that learned there still helps me to manage global organizations, I would say.
Wow. So experiencing that key decision you made on many different levels. Number one, you had early in your career, it sounds like an inner compass to guide you in what you want to do. Because my problem when I started my career was I was listening to everything that everyone else was telling me. Hey, Ben, you should go do that. Usually what they would say was, hey, that's a great opportunity. And I was always filter it through, that's a great opportunity for me. But it wasn't always necessarily a great opportunity for me. It was just a great opportunity. You kind of have the reverse where you discovered, hey, you think that's a great opportunity because number one, it's for a boss that's going to allow me to flourish. But also the experience is going to be different. You weren't necessarily caught up in the ego of, well, I've got 150 people reporting to me. My next job has got to be 300 people reporting to me.
Exactly.
So what was going on there? Where you were able to listen to yourself? Is this something that you've always had in your career, or did you have someone early on help develop it?
Yeah, I got an attitude in life in general saying that, hey, I digress a bit and a little bit give an example. In again, early part of my life, I used to drive a very, very old Indian Premier Padmini car. You may not even know what it is. Like I don't know the equivalent.
What's it called?
Premier Padmini, right?
Okay, Premier Padmini.
Padmini, that's a car. It's a very old car, and
okay, in India,
in the same time periods, actually, right? And where the India was emerging, developing, and people used to buy all the newest tech cars with greater technology. When they still see me driving that old car, they'll come back and say, "Hey, why can't you change the car?" My answer at that in those days used to be, "Hey, the car should get the value because I'm driving it, not that I should get the value based on the car I drive." So,
whoa,
right, and that used to be my attitude, and even when it comes to career decisions, I don't attach myself to the number of people I manage. Even today, I don't attach myself to the number of people I manage, and that should not be giving me the status. It's based on what value I drive into the role, and that should give the status. The second thing is, what is that I'm learning? So the inquisitiveness for learning something that I do not know always keeps me driving in my personally as well as professionally.
Wow. And you seem like you're extremely happy right now. Like you just
Yeah.
exuding positive energy, approachability. You don't seem like a stuffy executive.
No, I'm very happy and very positive.
Like, do you get that a lot? Do you do your 450 reports and people out inside Sensormatic? Do they do you find them to have this persona of you or this impression like you're a very
Yeah,
approachable executive?
yeah. They think that I'm running too fast actually, right? Sometimes they want me to run slow
Oh, they went. Oh, you're going fast too on top of it. Okay.
with that positivity, right?
Okay. Yeah, like the car. And so, no, I like that, and thus you're able to focus on the important stuff, and not
Yeah,
get caught up in all the other details there. You had mentioned multicultural leadership lessons that you learned early because you stepped into that role.
yeah.
What are some of the more vital multicultural leadership lessons that you've learned that have been instrumental for your career?
I'll tell you, there are a couple of them actually, right? And one would be like when it had centers, that role involved centers like China, Poland, Israel, Malaysia, Singapore, India, US, right? It is very easy to work. I've been, until then, I've been working with the other country that I always worked with is US, and it's very easy to interact. And if you speak English, and not much of a difficulty from the cultural point of
Mm,
view. But when you work with this kind of diverse countries, for example, it's always you need to go very slow in explaining both in China and Poland. Yeah, I cannot speak with the speed in which I speak actually right now, but they will not, everybody will nod their head saying that, hey, yes, 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 but actually they're not understanding what I'm saying, right? And
mm,
number one lesson is be slow when it comes to dealing with some of these countries because they are more prone to doing business with their native language rather than in an English language, right? And you need to be conscious of that and need to be really slow in explaining what you're trying to explain,
yeah.
right? That is one. The other thing is if you are, in some of the Western countries, even Australia was one of the countries involved in that. If you're looking at US, Europe, or any of the developed countries, you typically nod your head yes. If you nod your head straight up and down, that is yes. If you nod your head left and right, that's no. But if you look at the Indian culture, many
Mm,
times people will say, they'll say it like this, they'll nod their head like this, but it is yes, right? Right? So it is very, you have these conversations with some of these guys, and they think that you are agreeing to these nuances. I never learned actually in the
uh,
until then. So you think that you're agreeing to them. They're thinking that you're not agreeing to them, and then they will start explaining that, hey, why he's not agreeing, right? And the other thing is, and the third thing, I already learned this. When you go into a multicultural discussions and a multi international discussions, it is not that every culture people explicitly express what is that they're looking for,
mm,
and they will have a lot of implicit needs which they don't express. Because they are not expressing, we tend to overlook that many a times.
mm,
How do you be conscious of understanding what is the implicit need of these people when you are doing this interaction? Is very important actually, and even today it helps me, and I'll talk more as we go through the conversation. That one of the important leadership lessons I would say, that
mm.
understanding the implicit needs in a global environment where people come from different cultures and they don't express the same way. Where you'll find in North America, even in North America, not everybody expresses the same way. They will find that if you find a New Yorker, they will be expressing much more vocally than
Mm.
another city person, right? So those kind of nuances were learned in that job, actually.
Yeah, I love it because you really gave us one that was simple. Go
Yeah,
slow.
go
Because
slow.
maybe I'm assuming that the Sensormatic language of preference for the whole company is probably English, right?
Correct.
And but not everybody has the same grasp on it. And if you roll in there to make a change or you're flying quickly around and you stop in and you speak very quickly, they may miss it. And I suspect
Yeah,
also there's a level of, hey, we need, if it's really important, we all need to write it down too, so you can read it
correct.
and hear it.
Yeah,
And then I love how you went down well, probably 10 more levels and said, there's something deeper here, which is what are the explicit communication aspects and needs of the people that you're trying to communicate to?
correct.
Yeah. And that's a whole another level. What do you do? I mean, what's your approach to understanding someone's implicit needs?
Yeah, one is over a period you try to think from the other person's perspective, trying to see what he or she, what is the responsibility this person has, what is that his goals he's trying to accomplish, and from that point of view, what is that will be important for that person. That's one way to do that, and it's an art actually. It's not you develop this skill over a period of time, and other is when in doubt, ask a question, right? So the only way to make people to be more explicit, even if they are an introvert or even if they have implicit needs, we can pose a question to bring out the implicit need as an explicitly they can express. And not many times people do that actually, right? If you ask a question, then the other person also gets interested, saying, hey,
Mm.
is wanting to understand what my needs are, and then they'll be more than happy to express that.
Yeah, they say, hey, this person's really being present. They're really curious about me, the individual, not
Correct.
just a leader rolling here telling me what to do and
Exactly.
asking questions. I can see that being a good default. When you
Yeah.
feel like you need to tell somebody what to do, fall back on asking a question first.
Asking a question.
You also are known for talking a lot about innovation culture, which in an organization like Sensormatic, I mean, come on, that's huge. And all this technology that you're involved in today, what are you doing to foster that that innovation culture for your team?
It's a good question. We do quite a lot actually, right? And in today's world, with all the digitization that's happening across all the industries, and no company can be slow on their innovation. They have to accelerate. And when we look at our innovation approach, we look at it from both sides, outside in as well as inside out.
Hmm.
When I say outside in as well as inside out, we don't want to innovate for the sake of innovation, and we need to innovate for the real pain points of a customer, right? Understand the real pain points of a customer, and then how do you come up with an innovation that the customer can appreciate it and they can buy your solution. So the recent change that we are driving in the company today is how do you get customer voice of customer inputs, right? And there are many product companies will look at voice of customer saying that, hey, I want to do this product, give me inputs for this product. Okay, we take a
Mhm.
completely different approach, and we have an approach called the NPI blueprinting session, and we rolled it out for all product managers in the company. We got all of them trained in this NPI blueprinting session, and the concept is very simple, where you get all these product managers go in front of the customers. Don't talk about a specific technology, don't talk about a specific solution. It is more of a very exploratory discovery interviews, understanding, hey, how does your business work today? What are the challenges in your business? Not in terms of providing solution for that. Generally understanding, hey, if you are a loss prevention executive, what are your challenges today? Right? How are you
Mhm.
dealing with the challenges, and what do you do? Trying to understand the pain points of a customer. That's a very discovery interviews. We do it across all customers. And when you do this kind of discovery interviews, you're going to end up with very diverse set of pain points, right? The second part of this blueprinting, what it's an interesting approach to do that is you go back to the same set of customers whom you interviewed before for discovery. Now you ask them to prioritize all those pain points that they identified.
Mm.
And the prioritization is in two factors. How important is this pain point, right? You will have a lot of issues, but stack rank them in terms of order of importance, right? So then once you do stack rank them in the order of importance, next question you need to ask is, okay, you have some solutions for all these pain points. You're not happy about it. How satisfied are you for those? How satisfied are you with those solutions? Now, so now you got the priority in terms of priority, pain points, and the satisfaction. So now you got a stack rank order where you can filter it saying that high on importance, low on satisfaction with the current problems. Now you got the problem to go work on. So that's an outside in approach. We don't do it with just one customer. We try to go to multiple customers and get feedback from multiple customers to identify, is that a general market problem or industry problem, or it is a one customer problem, right? We just want to work on a product or a solution that goes globally. So we talk to multiple customers, prioritize, and then take that problem statement, go back to our internal teams, and then we have multiple ways to innovate from the teams for the problem. Now we only got the problem, we've not got the solution, right? We go to the teams to say that, hey, we could have an individual brainstorming sessions. We have discrete brainstorming sessions on a specific topic. We get a focus group into the room, put the problem, ask them to brainstorm and come up with innovative ideas. We have hackathons. We have an annual hackathons where for the hackathons, we throw these problems as a problem areas for the teams to think about and go spend a week with a cross-functional team from sales to business development, to engineers to product management. We will form teams like that. And then they build a prototype concept and come to the senior leadership and present the ideas to us. That's another way. And then we are heavy on patenting. We focus on how do you create differentiation in the market and how do you protect that differentiation before we get the teams to go focus on patenting the ideas that they come up with. We file on an average about 60 patents a year.
So what's an example of this process in action? And how might, what was the biggest, or maybe what's an impact item that came out of this?
There are a couple of examples, and which are getting some are getting launched, and some are under works. Let me give you some example. One example I would say is we have a large business called Traffic Insights business. The business focuses on how many shoppers are walking into the store today. In today's world, in a brick and mortar store, getting a shopper inside the store itself is difficult. Everybody wants to shop from home. And once you come into the store, how are you converting these shoppers effectively? How are you helping the shoppers to buy, right? That's a bigger problem for retailers. So the Traffic Insights business focuses on what are the foot traffic that are coming into the store, which part of the store getting higher traffic at what hours, kind of a thing, and then map that with the labor allocation in the store, optimize the labor allocation so that the retailer can get a better conversion. That's the value proposition of that business. We thought that given that the omni-channel and a lot of shoppers are coming for fulfillment into the store, basically buy online and pick up in store, pick up at the curbside. We thought that understanding the traffic and how it has an impact on their business will be will be the most important problem that the retailers will be dealing with.
Okay.
When we went through the VOC study, we realized that the store operations some of the store operations customers that we talked to felt that is not the most important problem that we need to focus on. There is something else. So that could be one example where we can say that, hey, otherwise we would have gone ahead and built that product thinking that that's the most, because it's the inside out.
You solved the wrong problem then.
We solved our own problem, right? And we kind of avoided focusing on that. That will be one example. But on the other side, you can see that the retail crime, organized retail crime, and the total retail loss, that all the loss that happens in a store is a big topic in today's retail world today. You hear news every week, right? And sometimes every day, right?
They're tricky in terms of how they, shrinkage happens in organization or, in the retail world. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So we have got, we are very fortunate to have all global retailers willing to talk to us, and we had multiple VOC sessions, and we got fantastic inputs in terms of how to go address that problem, right? Based on what we heard, we are putting together an NPI in terms of what retailers are interested in is not try to catch after the theft has happened. Hey, how do you deter the person from getting into your store and doing something, doing any crime activities? So you cannot completely prevent, because today some of the organized retail crime guys are not even bothered. Even if you are taking a picture of them, they're not even bothered, and sometimes they take a
They're like, look at me, take my picture. I'm
yeah,
shoplifting. You're not going to
right,
catch me.
right. So
Yeah.
still there are quite a bit of inputs that have come from our customers, and I'm really thankful to all our customers who participated in the VOC. And we are putting together a product. We are just starting to build a product to address some aspects of it where it will help the retailers to deter some of these shoplifters. I won't be able to talk more about it until we get the product out, and we are in the initial stages. And I'm sure that you'll see in the coming months, Sensormatic is coming up with some cooler products in this area.
Well, we're putting all shoplifters on notice right now. Sensormatic's coming for you, and that sounds cool. Now, there's a lot of good stuff in there to really unpack, and I want to make sure we have time to move on too. But for listeners, KS has really shown us the importance of innovating the right way. So you have got, for lack of a better word, you have an innovation machine that you've built inside your company, and you can point it at any problem, right? You've got the engineers, you've got the creativity, you've got the resources, the funding, but you're trying not to get off solving the wrong thing. And I think companies have gotten, leaders have got to be aware of that. And I love this process of, hey, before you start innovating, innovate the process you're using to decide what to innovate on in the first place. Don't go off and solve something that doesn't need to be solved. And a lot of times, I think companies will create a positive innovation, but it won't necessarily be a big hit because they
Yeah,
didn't go through the prioritization strategy. You don't want to solve your customer's problem. You want to solve the problem.
exactly.
Right.
And exactly. Actually, we were also focused heavily on either one or two customers in the past. I'm saying one or two customers are inside out innovation, where people have got a cooler idea and we've taken it to the market. So we don't want to lose sight of while we're focusing on outside in perspective or getting the customer feedback and then working on the right problem. At the same time, we don't want to lose sight of inside out innovations as well,
Tell me
where
more.
we'd like to. What we do is we go drive people to come up with ideas. In the hackathon is a great example,
Okay. Yep.
and discrete brainstorming is another great example. The brainstorming sessions can happen. They can understand. Our teams can identify, hey, what are the biggest problems that in their mind we have to go solve, and then have a brainstorming session and come up with an idea. And when we get that idea, when we get those inside out ideas, now what we are trying to do is, okay, that's a great idea. Let's go try to see a match for what are the customer feedback that we have got so far, or what is the strategic direction that the company wants to bet on. Is it aligning with that strategic direction? In both aspects, we validate and then say that, okay, let's take it forward and then implement that.
You need a process for both, don't you? Inside
Yeah, we
out
need a
and
process for
outside
both.
in.
Yeah.
It feels like a lot of companies don't do the outside in as much as they attempt to do the inside out. But even then, if you don't have the process for inside out, so ideas coming from your employees, you're going to lose one, you'll lose employees who have these great ideas because they're like, hey, the company's not acting on them.
Yeah.
I've got these great ideas. They won't do them. And then so it's important that you do that. And also, I love how you have a process for matching the inside out innovation to the problems that you've already identified through your outside in.
Yeah.
That's a cool topic.
Exactly.
All right.
So I'll go about an example and in this topic, since we just concluded this year's hackathon, and we had 16 plus ideas, 16 plus teams participated, and they demonstrated the concept actually, right? Some of them were based on a customer direct customer feedback where we have shared, hey, this is an area where they need to go work on. Some of them were like they came up with an idea as a team that they have the idea this could be cool, this could be useful. So just last week we just concluded an exercise of taking all those ideas, all the 16 ideas, reviewing them, and then seeing that, hey, where does it match? Like which of these ideas mapping to our customer views inputs, and which are these ideas where it is futuristic, it is in the strategic direction that the company wants to go, we still want to pursue. So we just finished that exercise. We're going to go back to our hackathon teams and saying, hey, these are the ideas we prioritize. We think that it's worth pursuing it, taking it to the next stage. We are not just going to say that orally that we are not taking it to the next stage. We have a roadmap tool, and depending upon the portfolio area that these ideas have come, we are going to add these ideas into the roadmap tool. That means a product manager who is responsible for this particular portfolio is going to ensure that it's going to get integrated into the roadmap. It gets developed as a general available product and launched as a product.
Oh, so good. Y'all, you are hearing how the best in the world innovate and have a process. You don't necessarily, I mean, most people are not going to have access to 150,000 managed devices and 70,000 stores, but you can follow a process that harnesses the energy of your customers and your employees, and find ways to make these happen. Looking forward, so I'm asking you to sort of get out your crystal ball here. What does the future look like from an innovation standpoint with all the data points that you guys have?
Yeah, there's the multiple directions it will go. What I would say is,
where do you start?
How do you start, right? And for example, we have three parts of the businesses. As we said, loss prevention. The biggest challenge is going to be, hey, how do you come up with more advanced technology solutions that's going to prevent shrink, right? Prevent these organized retail crime guys from entering into the store. What kind of solution you can put it in the store?
It's more expensive than ever for companies to hold inventory, right? Because it gets outdated, trends change so quickly, technologies, and they're going to end up with a bunch of just stuff on the shelf that doesn't make sense. And so if you don't have the visibility, if you're not guarding for shrinkage.
So the second part of the business is our inventory business. There's a lot of advancement will happen with RFID technology. We are leading in that space as well, and more retailers will adopt RFID for inventory accuracy as well as fulfilling. See, when all these brick and mortar stores start becoming fulfillment centers for online orders, then they need to know exactly how many items they have in the store, can they fulfill or not. That's going to be a bigger problem. So the technology advancements will happen there. And also there'll be a lot more AI-based solutions emerging in a brick and mortar retail store, because we want to understand how the shoppers come. We typically classify shoppers as red shopper and a green shopper. This is from the University of Florida, Gainesville. There is a council called Loss Prevention Research Council, LPRC. They have come up with this terminology. We use that very widely in our business. Red shopper and a green shopper. Green shopper is a good shopper who comes to the store, buys things and pays for it and walks out. And
hopefully those exceed the red. And what's the red shopper? Sorry, I cut you off.
A red shopper is the one who comes and doesn't pay, steals and goes away, right? And
I would put them in the red category if they're stealing stuff. Okay.
Correct. So now the lot of innovations in our space will come in terms of how do you minimize the friction for a green shopper, and how do you increase the friction for a red shopper? It's cool. Not going to be an easy problem, right? It is going to be like, if you increase the friction, then how are you going to do it only for red shopper, and how can you not do it for green shopper? and there will be a lot of innovation that is coming in that space in terms of in general retail technology space. And then the third area is how understanding the behaviors of shoppers, right? What is that they are interested in? Where do they spend time? How much time do they spend? Do they still buy? Are they getting help at the right time? Basically, trying to understand the shopper behavior patterns inside the store, similar to what you can do online. If I go into a website and I click on a things, you know what I clicked
Ah,
on, what did I look at, and what did I purchase. You have the entire navigation of me online. How do we try to replicate that,
mhm.
digitize that in a brick and mortar store? There will be more innovations coming in that direction, and that's more goes towards retail digitization.
Yeah, to really enhance the store experience to mirror something like online.
Online.
I can see that because it is very customized there, and in person can be way cooler than online
Yeah.
in terms of a visceral experience. I mean, I can see, walk into a store and the music changes.
Yep.
Ben's here. We're gonna play some nice Americana music. Take off Taylor Swift. Sorry, Taylor Swift,
Yeah.
and put something non-Taylor Swift on because I hear that enough at home based
Yeah.
on my Spotify listening.
Yeah.
Well, so man, KS, we don't have a lot of time left, and I feel like I haven't quite done your own experience justice in terms of a leader. What's one of when's the time you had an unexpected twist or failure in your career, and how did it lead to your own success or growth on down the road?
Yeah, one thing I would say is in my freshman years of undergraduate degree, during the final exam time, my father suddenly passed away.
Mm,
And that was an unfortunate thing. He was healthy, everything was normal, and suddenly he got a fever, and then suddenly he passed away. It all happened suddenly. And I was very, very close to my father, actually. Kind of lot of things I carry forward today is all the learnings and the values that he imbibed in me. It was an unimaginable loss, even though I had a lot. I had lot of siblings. I was the sixth child in the family, and I have two wonderful elder brothers who took care of me like my father. And they today, if I have to owe my success to anyone, that is to my two brothers. Actually, right? They shaped everything for me. I Even though I had all that support, but that loss was unimaginable at that young age in the first year of undergraduation.
mm,
But it changed me completely. That event changed me completely upside down,
mm,
both personally and professionally, I would say. And whatever he is to teach in the early childhood, I am not sure whether I followed that religiously before his death, but after his death, that became my Bible. Right? He used to say, "Hey, you need to work hard. You should not, one should not get even a single penny without putting in the hard work for that penny. You cannot earn a penny without the hard work. Anything
mm,
you earn should come from your hard work. Be honest and not worry about the results. Focus on the effort. Put in the best effort, you will get the best result. Don't worry about the result." So these are some of the values he imbibed in me. And after he passed away, I started becoming. I'm a different KS. Prior my father's death and post my father's death, I'm really a different KS, and kind of religiously started following the values he taught me so much.
mm,
And then, if you really look at my career, even in academics, everything, it
mm.
all fast forwarded after his death. That's because I was so focused on what he taught, and then started following it actually.
Well, and how old were you when he passed?
It was first, what, must be about 17, 18 years.
17 or 18. Wow, man. Yeah, so that was a real turning point, huh?
Yeah.
It harkens back a little bit to Malcolm Gladwell's book, David and Goliath. I don't know if you read that, but he talks about how many leaders in the world lost a parent at a young age. And it's
Yeah.
almost like the unimaginable, like the one thing that would seem like would just throw people potentially into a spiral A lot of
Correct.
times they take resilience and inspiration from that, and they overcome great odds and become amazing leaders, you know,
Yep. Yep.
like yourself, from that. It sounds like it really fueled you.
Yeah, that
In
really
that
fueled
moment.
me, and I was a completely different person since then.
Oh, well, K.S., it's been a fun show, and it's funny because I didn't get to a lot of my questions, but maybe we'll do a second one in the future, if you'd be open to that. And I just like you to, I want to give you the floor to put the cherry on top of this interview. What's your parting thought for our listeners today?
Yeah, I would say that there are a lot of people today looking for easy answers in the
Yeah.
quick gratifying results. And I personally believe that unless you put in the real hard work and have the drive for execution, you're not going to get the results. And you'll be lucky sometimes you'll be able to get the results. I say that hard work, there is no substitute for hard work, actually, right? That's what is going to make, whether you are really smart or you're not really smart, it doesn't matter. You can overcome anything and everything with your hard work.
All right. We'll leave it there. Thanks,
Yeah.
KS.